specific example that how culture is going to affect management. Now, we talk about planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, right? So in planning, let's take an example is whether plans should be developed by individual or team. Some company culture is the boss will make the plan and announce to everyone. Some organizations, the culture is we will come up with a team plan, and that's the way that they are. Now, what about organizing? Organizing may affect, for example, how much autonomy should be designed into employees' job. Some company, what they'll do is that here the guideline you will follow. But of course, some culture is that you can make certain adjustment. You have the freedom to make certain adjustment, and as long as you achieve the required, objective. What about leading? Leading will affect the leadership style. Because if the culture is used to authoritative leadership style, and if you go in and using those so-called participative, the worker will think the boss is weak. Actually, participations, sometimes some worker will consider, you think of it as a weak management. Of course, there are some other way around, right? If you don't ask, for suggestions, some worker will think that, the manager is not listening to the others. Now, control, whether to impose external control or to allow employee to control their own actions. Here is, no guideline, but, it is what the organization culture it is all about. Okay, now, so this chapter is actually not too detailed in the information, but, there is an important message to bring out that, that is something that will control us. Now, at the beginning, I already said, a lot of people who have good reputations, and one of the reasons that make them good reputations is because of the culture. Now, so here is just for your information. Nowadays, a lot of company and talk about organization need to have a innovative culture. Now, so here are some of the suggestions on what is a innovative culture looks like. So I'm not going to go in detail, but you can look at that. This is the type, and the other one is talking about customer responsive culture. Marketing students will find that this is quite true. So here are some of the, I would say, characteristic of customers response culture. So in other words, is every different type of organizations, you may want to have a different kind of culture, and there are certain things they can suggest to managers. So here I only give you two examples. One is nowadays always talk about innovative, and the other one is classic, is customer response culture, right? And that's about it I'm going to talk about. And let me go through the cases first, all right? And then I will go team by team and looking at the company you want to work on. Let's start up with the one that I think that I haven't finished telling you. I want to go back because last week we didn't get time. So is it okay to tell? Book. I think we haven't finished talking about the case. Is it wrong to tell a lie? Am I correct? Right. When I look through your answer, I have many responses from this group, but I cannot find one I really think it is good enough. Now, you say why? After we're doing all these cases for several times, you know that many of the cases, you need to make use of what you learn from the chapter itself. Because I already said, if I give this case to anyone can answer it. But the question is, I want to see that if you really got the concept of, ethical dilemma is correct. All right. Now, so I went through it again and again. I just find this student did a pretty good job in answering it, although it's not exactly what, I think of. But among all, I can give you a big smile, but I cannot give you a thumb up. The others, I don't really see much because many of you will be following more or less the same thing. Now, let's go back and look at the case again, all right, instead of looking at this. Do you have the case so I don't have to go back and dig out my record? Do you have the case with you? Right? Okay. So if that is the case, let's look at the case because I will have to. It is not very user friendly. You know that the company is going to lay people off, right? And so an employee who worked for you asks you about Roma. She has heard that in your department, some of the employee will be laid off. You know the Roma is true, but you would rather not not let the information out just yet. You are fearful it will hurt department's morale and lead to premature resignation. So the question is, will you tell the employee? Now, so how are you going to think of answer? Then the problem is think, how many choice you can have? Two. Either you tell or you don't tell, right? If you tell, what will happen? They will demoral them working, and they may they will immediately look for a job, right? And going to work for other and leave early. So the next choice is you're going to tell them, right? Not to tell them. Okay. If not to tell them, then what? Then you are lying. So what you going to do? If you read the chapter, you should have a total different idea about this case. Am I correct? Now, first thing, I would just like a student. After I learn this chapter, I have to do this exercise. So I'll go back. All right, what did I learn in this chapter? In this chapter, they say, what is ethics? Ethical behavior is principle, values, and beliefs, right? Am I correct? All right. So we are not based on what is right or wrong because we so-called right or wrong depends on your principle, your value, and your belief. So if I lie, am I wrong? Not necessary. Based on principle, belief, and value. Right? Now, so here, what is right or wrong is looking at a higher level is what is my principle? What is my value? What is my belief? Now, of course, these three things seems very similar, but, I would say, should I lie? I would think of what is my principle. So if it's nothing to right or wrong, that means what is my principle? Should I tell them the truth or I shouldn't tell them the truth? Right? You have to think of it in a much more broader way. Now, do I have only two choices? I say no. Because basically we have three choices in this case. Am I correct? And let some of the online students see if they can write anything. Oh, I lost my case. Oh, never mind. I'm lost. Am I correct? There's three choices. Yes, no, and I'm not going to answer. Right? So based on the principle, as a manager in organizations, what can you do? What is your principle? Now, this looks like a complicated case, but it's very simple. Let me ask you one question. You will know it very well. I am the module coordinator of this module, Mgt 1002. And I am the one who is going to come up with exam questions and cases. You all know it. I already told you. So if you come and ask me, what is the exam question? What you expect me to respond? Huh? If I tell you the exam questions, I violate my principle. As a teacher, I should be fair. Either I tell everybody or I tell nobody. Right? So if you ask me, what would I say? Based on the principle, I say, I know, but I cannot tell you. Will you buy it? Yes, because you know that is my role, right? If I lie, I say I don't know, I'm really lying, and that is not the principles. So in this case, I would say quite straightforward. There's no such thing as right or wrong, lie or not lie. But as a manager, what is your, I would say, professional? What is your principles? So if I'm the manager, I would know. If I'm going to tell them early, it is not good for the company. But if I don't tell them, I am lying, and that is seriously affect my credibility. But if I say I cannot tell you, will they respect my decision? Yes, because it is my job. I am not supposed to let the workers know at this point until it is confirmed, right? So I was saying that when the news came out, the company announced it, whatever that is, then it is confirmations. Now, a lot of time, you have to ask your positions, your, basically we call it your professional obligation and your principles. There is another thing is quite often is that student, for whatever reason, want me to write reference letter. In organization too, now we always like to ask the boss to write a reference letter for us because we may change jobs and they will need a reference letter. You will find that it's going to come to you soon because a lot of things you want to apply for, they will ask you for a reference letter. So when I was working in organizations, I have this one quite often. Now, so how should I answer this reference letter? Will I say the worker is good? If it is good, I will. But what happens if the worker is bad and actually company fire her? So I need to write a reference letter. The reference letter actually is the new employer come directly to the ex-employer and ask reference. So if the company fire the workers and they ask me to write a reference letter, what should I say? If I'm going to be honest, tell them, and I'm worried about will affect that, he got the job or not, because somehow I find that even you fire someone, give him a new chance. And sometimes you fire him maybe because he doesn't fit into the organization, but some other organization may fit him better. So I will not say bad things about the workers because I don't want to affect his career. But will I lie about the workers? I won't, because if I lie later on, people will think that, oh, any reference, he would just say everybody is good. That will affect my reputations. So the third way we usually do, actually we all don't know this, is that if the worker is not good, we just say, yes, I confirm this staff work for us from what time, the date to what date, and the title is. So I didn't make any comment. I just saying that, yes, I confirm that he worked for the company. That's it. So the other party look at it will know, this is a lousy worker. Why? Because if he's a good worker, we'll make good suggestions, and we'll never say bad thing about it. But if it is bad, we just don't say it. Then we all understand. All right. Now, why? The same thing. Will I lie? I won't. But will I say good things about that workers? No, because that is not honest. So a lot of situations, whether you should lie or not, depends on what is the position you are at. Okay, and what is your principle? What is your professional judgment? So these two are good example. You will remember it easier, right? When you ask me the final exam questions, I won't tell you. I cannot, because I just think that it is not the right things to do, right? So if you fail my course and you ask me to write a reference letter, will I write it for you? Yes, but I will not say you fail my course, right? So that is how it's going to answer week 6. Is it wrong to tell a lie? Now you find that my answer is very straightforward, very simple, right? And I always go back and look at the chapters, what you learn, because I can answer the question in a much more different way, a more sophisticated, more advanced way. But when I judge you, I will judge how much you learn and what are your answers going to be, because I cannot expect more from you which you haven't learned before. So if you in the exam is the same thing. If you haven't made use of what you learned in the semester, then you probably is not answering it very well. Okay, then we're going to look at making change stick. Today's one. This one. I asked you what are the major steps. I thought this is very easy, right? Now, many of you give some decent answer, but I was very surprised. How come you don't make use of what you learned in this chapter? You remember we gave you some suggestions? Remember? Let me go back. That is lecture 5. What is that? Manual chain. Remember this? Remember this? So, what your answer supposed to be? That is what I expected. But I want you to have the secret. thinking of how you're going to do it. Now, so some of you were saying that, oh, we have to have a meeting to inform them. That I agree, because that is education, right? That let them know. But one thing that many of you miss, except one student, are using the unfreeze, change, and refreeze this concept. He didn't use exactly the word, but he used this concept. So first things, communicating what? You keep saying that, oh, we have to tell them to change. I was saying to let them know the old system not working, right? So immediately let them know that, that the past is not relevant anymore. So they will have a more urgent need to think of, need to change. So I would expect that you may reproduce all this in a sequence and apply into the case itself. And actually, 1 year I have exam question is exactly more or less the same. So student is actually, if you understand it, you just go ahead and make use of it. Now, of course, not all of them are appropriate, but you are going to make some, adjustment by using freeze, unfreeze, change, and refreeze this concept in your message, and then go and make use of these, suggestions. So what are the steps? You're saying the first is using nice way to tell them what is not good, and we want to change, and then you're going to do some support. And you may not need to mention the last two, because if you do it very well in the front, you don't need to worry about punishment. But at least that was the four items. If the question were 40 points, 10 point each. That's it. Got it? This is the last case. And exam you will be on your own, but all the tricks I already told you, in all these cases. Got it? All right. Now maybe I should start working with the company's name first, all right? Now, whether you are online or in the class, if you are in the class, you can discuss with me. Should I start asking team 1? Team 1, are you there? Team 1? No response? What company you are thinking of? Team 1? Okay, then it's your choice. Team 2?
Yes.
Okay. Now, team 2, you are looking at analyze how organization go global.
Yes.
What company you are thinking of? We all hear it.
Yes.
Huh?
We're gonna pay Kung Fu Tea, Airbnb, and Spotify. But
Slow.
Spotify, yes.
Which one you are going to?
Kung Fu Tea.
Kung Fu Tea.
Yeah.
Wait. Let's talk about Kung Fu Tea first, all right?
Yes. Okay.
I'm not familiar with this tea. Are they selling? Is it a local Hong Kong company?
No, but it's China company. But it's like it's a global corporate, and they have many store in Hong Kong, China, and America and Malaysia. So
So you're just talking about going to different country. When we talk about how they go global, it's talking about management practice.
Yes.
So
Also
this
is
is not
management.
this is not a Hong Kong company, right?
No.
So next one, no, because according to the assignment, it's supposed to be a Hong Kong company.
Oh.
Yeah, you read it carefully, So what is your next company?
HSBC.
HSBC. HSBC go global.
Yes.
Can you manage this?
But you have your Hong Kong company and go global.
Right.
Okay.
Not
Let's see.
necessarily have to be Hong Kong, but it had to be a Hong Kong, not a very very big company, because if it is a Hong Kong, if Hong Kong bank, the company is very very big, and there are a lot of things are being affected, and then they're changing the strategies. So can you turn off the microphone? I cannot hear you.
Yes.
Okay. There is someone else is have the microphone on.
I have the microphone too.
Oh, okay. But let's just be quiet. Otherwise, it's very difficult to hear. All right. So if you really want to talk about Hong Kong Bank, it's still acceptable. But I don't recommend, because there will be too much information and in a different stage. And I'm worried that will you be able to do a good job in it? Because Hong Kong Bank go global, it's been a long, long, long time. So you can think of it. If you want to do it, I will still let you do it. But I would say it's a little bit beyond your capability to do so. What is your third company? Are you still online?
Yes.
What is the third one you suggest?
Not.
Huh?
I don't have any idea of that.
No?
No.
Okay, now, so you hear my suggestions.
Yes.
So I let you think of it again and confirm it by next week, okay?
Okay.
All right. So team one is PCCW. Okay, team one, can you talk to me? Team one, can you talk to me? Okay, forget it.
Hi.
Okay. What company you are doing?
The Hong Kong airline. Is it okay?
Hong Kong Airline, you mean Cathay?
Yes. Or
All right.
Hong Express and something like that.
Wait. Cathay already bought out Hong Kong Express.
Oh, okay.
So you have to understand, is it you're doing Cathay, or you are just going the Express? Because Express is under Cathay, and they may not be able to have their own decisions, independently.
So is it okay for doing the cafe?
I will let you do it, but it is going to be not easy.
Okay.
Because I don't know why you people are picking such a big company, if such a big company, you will have a lot of information, and there are a lot of things you will need to consider. But if you want to use Cathay Pacific, I'll write that down. Okay, you are team Your team 1, right?
Yes.
Cathay Pacific, okay.
Okay.
This decision is not you should take it serious, because later on you have to hang on to this company and you cannot change because other already had it. Now, team 2, I will expect your response next week. Team 3. Team 3, can you talk to me?
Yes.
Your topic is how global organization doing business in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of global company you are looking at?
Hot Toys and Media Link Group Limited.
Hot Toys.
Hot Toys is a Hong Kong-based figure company.
Is a what?
Hong Kong-based selling figures.
So they sell Hot Toys in Hong Kong?
Hot Toys is based in Hong Kong, and they are selling this to global. So there is a pop-up store and exhibition to explore market in Hong Kong, basically.
Well, according to the question, it's a how global organization. Global organization is a company not belong to Hong Kong, and they are coming to Hong Kong and do business in Hong Kong. Am I correct? So, is it Hot Toys is a global company, and now they're coming to do business in Hong Kong?
Maybe no, because maybe no, because Hot Toys is a Hong Kong-based company. Because maybe my interpretation on the question is a little bit off the topic.
Right.
Yeah. So we will find another one.
So you have to find another one, all right?
Yes.
Team 4. Team 4, can you talk to me? Team 4.
Hi.
Yeah, talk to me then.
We only chose one company, and that is Tesla, the car selling company.
Do they have any business in Hong Kong?
Yes. They set up branches in Hong Kong.
Is it big or small?
Sorry, pardon?
Is it big or small? I'm concerning Tesla is the right company, and if they have business in Hong Kong, how many workers they have in Hong Kong, or how many, what are the business they do in Hong Kong? And I'm just worried if it is big enough for you to write a 2,500 word.
We just discussed the company, but we haven't really looked into the company.
Okay, so you want to change your mind or what?
Or maybe after we look into the company,
Okay.
and we will decide.
Okay, so I'll let you inform me next week when we discuss, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Tesla is a right company for this project, but, the only concern is they are too small to business in Hong Kong, then you don't have enough things to write for 2,500 words.
Okay.
Then you will, then later on you're saying that, oh, what you're going to do. That's why I warn you first. Okay, then in that case, you can think of it. I'll let me know next week. Team 5. Analyze how organization manage global workforce. That means
Here.
the company has a lot of workers working in Hong Kong. So Team 5, can you talk to me?
Yes, our first choice is Hong Kong Jockey Club.
Okay. Let's talk Hong Kong Jockey. Are they hiring a lot of foreigners working in Hong Kong Jockey Club?
Yes.
Yes. You sure?
Maybe.
There's no such thing as maybe. You better.
If I'm sure, it's the second choice, which is at 半島酒店.
Okay. You know that Peninsula hire a lot of foreigners working here.
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Enough for you to write a project?
I think they have different position. They are using foreigner.
Okay. So what I'm concerning is, are there enough foreigner for you to write this project for 2,500 words?
Okay. Let me discuss with my groupmate to see, do we have a better choice?
No, I mean, I would suggest that you go and look into the company a little bit more detailed.
Okay.
That I know that Peninsula will hire managers from overseas. They hire cook from overseas, but then most of their workers are local. So if you only have 4 or 5 foreign workers, then you don't have much to talk about.
Okay.
Right? So you have to think of it. Find a company which they will have a lot of foreign workers working for the company itself. The most popular one, of course, airline company, but someone already select Cathay. Technology company, IT company. This company, they make use of a lot of, foreigners. So you may consider those, okay?
Okay.
So I'll leave it open, and next week let me know, all right?
Okay.
Okay, what about Team 6? Did we finish talking about it? Team 6?
Yes.
You have the same topic. What is your suggestion?
We consider that Subway and Jollibee or德成旅遊, these 3 companies.
Okay, now tell me the first one first.
Since I think like cashier, in Subway cashier, and the worker in the store, most of.
Wait. We are talking about the company. You are thinking of Subway.
Okay.
Right? How many foreigners they are hiring? Because we're saying that Subway have to manage global workforce. So how many foreigners they have and where they come from? Do you have an idea?
No. That means that need the manager level is come from global.
Right. Not necessarily management level, but not to have, they hire a lot of foreigners. And because they are foreigners, you do need to use a different management technique to manage them. So if you only have 1 or 2, foreign workers, then you don't have enough material to write for 2,500 words, right?
Yes.
So besides Subway, what else company you are thinking of?
德成旅遊.
Will you consider as a global organization, global workforce?
Just think that the worker most of is come from Indian or Philippine, so we choose that.
So will that be global enough for you to come set up policy?
May not enough.
Yeah, right. Because you are talking about just 1 foreign countries or 2 foreign countries, So you do have to think of something that there are many other people working in Hong Kong, that how company is going to manage them. Do you have the third one?
The third one seems cannot. We just actually be because the company is made from Philippines.
Hmm. So you should have to think of again, which company will hire a lot of foreigners. So not only from one or two other country, at least, you're saying that, oh, they hire from Europe and they hire from America or Asia. Then in that case, you'll have enough things to write the case itself. Okay? So should I give you another week to think of it?
Yes.
All right. So I expect you give me an answer next week.
Okay.
All right. See, that's why I always want to start early because you have to think through it. Otherwise later on you will have problem. Then it is I think that as I give you suggestions, I should let you know earlier. All right, Team 7. Okay, Team 7, you are looking at corporate strategies. Which company you are thinking of? Again? No, it's not here. Yes, you still can. I know the owner. He passed away. I know the company too well. I have a master degree team did 7592. Right. But okay, I'll let you do that. But corporate strategy, don't have to work for it right now because I haven't touched on that topic yet. But I would say it's doable. The company, although is small, but they do need a corporate strategy because after the owner died, 360 want to buy them, and 759 when the owner was there, they have a very good team to work with. But after the owner died,